And there we go. We are up and running. Get these keys out of my pocket. Got the puppies here with me tonight. Hello, baby. And we're going to just hang around here for a minute, set some things up. We're going to present some screens. Let's go. Let's go with the National Hurricane Center. Boom. And share. There we go. All right, we have that up. And we'll just wait a minute or two until some people pop in. I know that tonight there's a great big confab going on over with a bunch of great carnivores. So I'm not going to be too concerned about people piling in at the moment. Let me see if I can pull it up just so we can do a keto cookout live. There we go, cookout live. I have to take that down a little bit. We're going to go cut down on volume just a tad bit, and then I'll present the screen. Let's go. Let's see. Can I go here? Can I edit this at all? We're going to edit. No, we don't want to move it. Let's see. Can I go present? Well, I'm going to have to go like this, and then I'll have to go present screen. Share screen, and we'll go out here and go share. And there we go. That's what's eating up the bandwidth tonight, where we have Homesick Buckeye. I got his page up. Of course, you have Carrie from Homestead How and Dr. Tony Hampton, and then we have our friends up here, Adam and all. So it's going to be a challenge regardless, because people out watching the cool kids right now. Totally get it. But you're going to hang around here. Adam's up here trying to run the controls, and folks are busy just trying to get things done. We'll go back here, and what we'll do, we'll pull up another one. Where are we going to pull up another one? Well, over here. Well, let's work here. Carnivore Today. Okay, there we go. Carnivore Today's challenge. And that, so you see that right now, I think there were plenty of people in there. I don't know. I think Homestead, Kerry must have the better part of the world in his. See, Dr. Tony Hampton has his up. And where is Homestead? How in all of this? Oh yeah, Kerry. Yeah, Kerry. Well, we'll hit the live. And hey, you get a good chance to say, hey, Lisa's Blessed Life. How are you doing, Lisa? Everything good today with you? Homestick, nourishment, blah, 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 Tony Hamlet. Yep. So plenty of people in here. Homestead How is out here. And let's see, we'll do this one thing. Which brand would you consider using? None of the above. With how many people out here right now? 147. So with 147 people watching, that's going to be quite the challenge out there. But let me stop that and bring back the weather I was looking at. So I'll share the screen. Still learning how to drive this, so please forgive me. We'll start right here. We're going to share this first. Hey, it's Mike Shaw. Hey, brother, how you doing? My brother from another mother. Yep, I'm running up against the big boys tonight. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but it is what it is. But we're looking here at the National Weather Service chart here, and this is just looking at the warnings across the lower 48. Of course, the big stories down here in Florida. Storm surge in the Panhandle area is going to be pretty significant. You can see from these charts. Let's see if we can do anything. But yeah, lots of storm surge. You're taking the hurricane. It looks like it's going to go right through the Panhandle, like we said before, right over southeastern Georgia, South Carolina, and right up to Cape Hatteras as forecast. Hello there, Laura. How are you? You over in Adam's channel? Yep. I don't want to hurt another channel. You know better. You know I'm not like that. Laura said you were here. I'm betting she's on her way. Okay. Well, here we are just looking at some of the weather things, and I'm glad you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing well today. I know there's a lot of consternation here today, a lot of things going on. So Looking at, let's go current conditions. We're going to look at some local surface observations. No, we're not. It said not tonight. Not tonight there, Mr. Scotty. All right. Well, what we'll do is we're going to have to change this out. And we'll go with OWA weather.gov. I want the weather. We'll go with Aviation Weather Center. With the Aviation Weather Center chart here, what I can do, I can not do that and go all around the world. While I'm trying to find my location, everybody just be patient here. A little bit of data is a lot of fun, but we don't need to look there. So already in looking around Florida, we can definitely see lots of convective issues, lots of tropical force winds out there. And we can definitely drill down, and we can see here at St. Petersburg right now, visibility 2.5 miles, 2,300 foot ceilings. Gusty winds. Winds are out of the southeast at 29, gusting to 43. So it's already quite windy right there along the Florida coast. So pretty significant weather going on there. All right. So everybody said hi. Everybody's good. Good. My metamorphosis is here. Good. Dropping by for a minute. Dr. Hemp, answer your question. He wasn't clear what you asked, but yeah. Well, here's the deal, and I'll go back. I have to watch the rerun. It's just that the my question on stearic acid. You got early morning. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Smash the like button if you can on the way out. I'd appreciate it. Okay. 43 knots, 50 miles an hour. That's right. It's already up there for them on the coastline. It's already hit. Hopefully, and this is an area right here. Talking from, again, if we're looking at from St. Petersburg area all the way down here to Coal Creek, going to be a lot of storm surge, and that to me is problematic. That storm surge will probably move even. Let's see if we can get this to move. If with it tracking right through this area here, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see some serious things. This airplane here was reporting sky clear, flight level 6,000 feet. Not a lot to say, just, a typical pilot report. If I look at some METARs, there we go. There you go. Now you can see that outer band and those winds as we were talking about. If we drill down into there, yeah, lots of wind here already. Going to get a lot of storm surge piling into there, and yeah, that's just going to be. It's going to be tragic for a bunch of people. That's unfortunate. All right, take care. So too early. Yeah, too early for what there, Mike? But oh yeah, so I was talking about the hurricane of very least, in the words of Gypsy Queen. Right. So my question to Dr. Tony about the stearic acid. Stearic acid is a component of what us carnivores ingest a lot of, and that stearic acid. In fact, maybe I can pull it up. I think I bookmarked some of this stuff, so we'll have to see. But the stearic acid, did I or did I not? We'll have to wait and see. There we go. So let me take off this screen. We're going to stop that screen, and we're going to present another screen. So much to do. I wish I could do multiple, like when I'm in my Stream Deck, I can do multiple, but here we go. So dietary stearic acid regulates mitochondria in vivo in humans. So that's really in there, right? So this article really talks a lot to epidemiological difference between the stearic acid and C18 and this other shorter relative long chain fatty acid. And so this was a good one to read. There are some other ones that were excellent reads. And so when we talk about mitochondrial health, there's some studies that are being done and have been done where they are actually recommending that stearic acid be used as a therapeutic way of improving health, particularly for people with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Because if you can get the health of your mitochondria to function, other good things happen. And that it turns out that cells actually have receptors directly for the signaling of stearic acid. So I get stearic acid and I add it to some of my food, and I do notice an improvement in my overall energy balance, but I don't know how that plays out. So that was my reason asking the good doctor, and I'll have to go back and listen to it more. Otherwise, how's it going for everybody? Let's just take a moment here and just say everybody sound off if they want to about how your day is going and how things are going for you as with regards to non-scale victories or scale victories that you have. Yes, stearic acid is plant-based on Amazon, and I'm okay with it being plant-based because it's the same at that time. When you break it down, it's a long-chain fatty acid. So, and again, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor nor am I a chemist. However, I would submit that when you break things down far enough, like, it used to be type 1 versus type diabetes. You had childhood diabetes, and then you had adult onset diabetes. And what they realized is child diabetes is type 1, the adult onset is type 2. If you talk about fatty liver disease, which I have a fatty liver, they used to have a very a distinct line between everything alcoholic related fatty liver and non-alcoholic fatty liver. Well, in that scenario, we find that it isn't like that. The genesis for how you got the fatty liver is different, and there's different issues associated with that. But once you got the fatty liver, you're going to get fatty liver, and then you're going to get steatohepatitis, which, by the way, stearic. You can kind of see the connection there. And so when we look at something and we break it down to its component parts, that stearic acid seems to be what we're looking for. Not so much like protein from a plant versus protein from an animal. Well, you got a lot of other intermediaries before you can get to that, and those cascade things. But that's just my thinking. So stearic acid, yep, that's right. So let me put that up there on the screen. Thank you, Laura. Mike says, so far scurvy-free, it's a 63. Good on you. And you like Genesis, too. Let's go here, just passing by. Okay, some people in Carnivore are super strict. Oh, I do know. That's like coffee, right? People, hey, can't do coffee. Well, okay. If you don't want to do coffee, then don't do coffee, right? We try not to be dogmatic, right? So I'm going to just embiggen this screen just a tad bit. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and roll back. Hang on. All right. I wanted to do that because I closed the door. My wife has gone off to sleep, and I don't want my voice, even though I do have a sonorous voice, I do not want it to disturb my wife. Yeah, you liked Rush. I was not a big Rush fan when they were brand new. I was not. I don't know what was wrong with me. Eagles fan, all that, but I couldn't do Rush very much. It's like I didn't like Led Zeppelin either when they were brand new. And I remember them brand new. It's good to be old. When I was a music station at Roswell, a record program sent me everywhere. All right, that's cool. Jethro Tull now, okay. I can get into some Aqualung. Yeah. I remember the days. Part of my job as a young person, or my work life, was my dad ended up buying our neighbor's house because my dad really liked this lady, and she passed away, and Dad just said, okay, he had some extra cash. He whatever he wanted to buy the house. So we bought the house. And then he used that house as a place for my grandparents to come to when they would come into town and they need a place to stay for their hospital appointments and stuff. Eventually, he rented it out. And one of the renters was a gentleman who ran the special events center at the University of Texas, El Paso. And they would get a lot of concerts in there. And he would invite me to work. And so I was a local roadie. And I was young and strong. So I offloaded a lot of concerts and set them up. You know, the concert, whoever it is, but they would have a contract, and we would set up pre-arrival from the buses and the band. We'd set up stage and get things ready. And then when they showed up, we'd offload, and then we set up all the concerts. So put the spots in the ceiling to hang speakers and lights and whatever tricky dicky things they had going on. Put up all the amp racks, put all the things on the stage, run all the cables, tape them down, put up the barricades and the chairs. And then the concert would come up, and we would either be doing spotlights, working some soundboard things, selling things in concessions, or security. And where do you put the guy who looks like the missing link, right? You don't put him out selling anything. You don't give him a great big old carbon arc light. No, you put them on that front line. And so I did a lot of security and worked a lot of bands, many bands you would know. And the hardest one, hello, Allison, how are you? Welcome. One of the hardest groups I ever worked for was Lawrence Welk and Wayne Newton. I mean, I did Van Halen, I did Sammy Hagar, I did our good old boy Willie Nelson, and so many people. And now, yep, they're very, very talented. And the Eagles, yep. Now, no auto tune there. That's back when you had to actually have talent. But I worked with all these different bands locally. I didn't travel with any of them. But, Van Halen was loud and lots of amps. Tom Petty doesn't have a sweet spot in my heart. Great musician, but not a soft spot in my heart for the way he carried himself. Not a big fan of Stevie Nicks or Joan Jett for their behavior, not their talent. I did Cheap Trick, Alda Nova, Axe. So lots and lots of people. I was with TV radio for 40 years. Worked in a few places. Yes, you did, Mr. Mike. So, I remember those bands and doing lots of work for them. I wonder if that could be why some of my hearing isn't so hot anymore. Not sure about that. Well, one of the things we're talking about, so anybody having non-scale victories so far this week? I mean, I know we discussed some things just yesterday, but I just want to make sure that we stay on top of it. T Swift, not a politics. I get it, Mike. I totally get it. I have to remember some of the things I've often said to myself is I have to be sophisticated enough. I should be sophisticated enough to divorce myself and not make myself an all or nothing type of person. Oh, also, hey, let's do this real quick. I want to copy this. Okay, boom, 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 and we're gonna post it. Hey, it's the Woodster. How you doing, bud? Just made it. Good. Yeah. What do you have to say? We are never ever going to survive the weather. Oh, I don't know about all that, brother. I don't. Well, look, I just posted the link in the channel in the chat. If somebody feels like they want to get some airtime or they want to share something outside of the weather and things of that nature, just let me know. Which says, yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay, so we even in that statement, we do have I don't want to say challenge, but how about those who are believers in Christ? All or nothing. Either you do or you don't. But I believe adult people can discuss things at multiple levels without saying, if you're not all here on me with something, all right there with something, then you can't be down here. That's my point. Hey, we got a whole group of 8 people. I appreciate everybody dropping by. This is just the after party, late night with Carnivore Scott. Kind of a new format. Hello, Dawn. Hiya. And we're just giving a free form opportunity for people to jump in if they want to. I do need to ask you all a question, though. And it kind of is a hurtful thing, but I want to talk to you, okay? First, I want to read Laura. So, got kicked out Van Halen because I thought we had weed, but we didn't. I hate that for you, Laura. I hate that for you. I really do. So here is, well, you can't be about food, yeah. Here's my $6 question. I want to do a lot of these impromptu, freewheeling, almost like coffee shop. Should we call it the coffee shop? No, we can't do that. But I want to do more of these, and it turns out I've already almost burned through all my hours for the free StreamYard. So my next thing is to buy a subscription. Oh, yeah, After Party Sky. Hey, Matthew, good to see you. To buy a subscription. Now, how do I do this? Buying the subscription would not cause me to go to the poorhouse. So I got to say that. But I'm wondering, do you think it's feasible, appropriate, or possible that I put up like a tip jar or something like that? I mean, I can definitely do the thing, but I have so many doodads now. I've got both the monitors, I got a Wave 3 mic, I've got all this stuff, a whole new computer, and then on top of that, I want to add a subscription for what is it, $20 a month if you pay for it for a whole year, 25 if you don't. It's a question. Carnivore grilling was maybe chilling with Scott. I don't know, grilling. Altus, Oklahoma, Lioness. Yeah, it's good to see you. And I don't mean a pun by that because I understand Lioness. Now, Lioness, if you have your camera up and running, I did put the link in the description here. And I'm going to I'll put it in again. If y'all want to come on, you can do that. You don't have to talk a whole bunch. You can just ride the screen with us. I know everybody, if you don't know Lioness Hiker, you really should, okay? And that goes for everybody here. Lioness is an awesome human being first and foremost. And I can say that even through a casual interactions here in the carnivore community because of how she conducts herself, the way her dog is like one of the best dogs I've seen, her trail dog. And she has a lot to offer us from different, different places, because I don't want to use too many visual because she has some visual acuity challenges. So there we are. Okay. There you go. Yep. Carnivore stream. So, hey, Don, no in late. No, we got to binge watch. I do the same thing. All right. Writing out Dahlia. I have that up in the screen, and I was looking at that. I already see some pretty gusty winds coming in on the coast there, so we keep an eye on that. Rachel, hey, bye, going to sleep. Well, you got to do that. I know you got to do a lot of work tomorrow, Rachel. It was great to catch you in here. Thank you for dropping by. Smash the like button if you can there. Would you do a $20 a month option or $30? I was going to do the $20 a month option, which will give me unlimited time. So I don't need to record a bunch. I don't think I need to keep more than 10 screens open at a time. I think those are kind of the things that delimit between the the paid first tier paid and the pro. I don't think I need what the pro offers, right? So I think the $20 a month is where I would go. So 2 times 12, still 24 for $240. So I don't know. We'll see. Oh, okay. Question. Hey, Jake. Any cheat days for this guy? I'm going to start this in one if anyone has. Okay, so cheat days. We talked a lot about this last night, and this is how I look at cheat days, okay? I think we shouldn't use that word. That's what I think. And my reasoning being is even in the word itself, in the connotation, you're kind of admitting a defeat thing, a failure thing. Instead of saying, and in many other programs, like I say, if you're exercising, you're working out, you're instinctive, you may need to do something that's off program, so to speak. But how could it be off program? You're never off program. It's like people saying, "Oh, I'm going to go on a diet." Well, if you really look at the word diet, you're always on a diet. Diet is a much more inclusive word that we've made into a exclusive word. I'm going to bring Mike in. There he is, man, the myth, the legend.
Sup? Sup,
I,
brother?
I tell you what's up. The price of everything. That's what's up.
Oh, yeah. You're not wrong.
But we were
Have you
just,
filled up your tank lately?
yeah. I drove all the way up to Cincinnati from Huntsville and back this weekend. Yeah, I did plenty of tank fills, no doubt. But I'm trying to answer Jake's question about cheat days, and I think first of all,
Oh, yeah.
don't go into this thinking you have to be militant or dogmatic. You know,
Right.
if you go from sad diet into a full on lion, you're going to expect 2 weeks with some pretty rough waters. That's my opinion, right? Now, if you've already done keto for 6 months, you may only have 4 days of impact. But don't, in my opinion, don't paint yourself into a corner that then you're going to feel guilty about. Say, look, I'm going to do this the best I can, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
sacrifice my family and I'm not going to
Right.
sacrifice my well being.
Right.
What you would say, you
No,
might.
you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. Well, I don't care what people eat. I don't get upset at them if they put pepper on their steak or even if they want to add fruit. I tried that for a couple days, and it wasn't for me, and maybe it will be in the future. And, N equals one, which means everybody's different. And you've got to find your own way. And, we hear all of these stories about how meat is healing people. And if you're like me and, you're 50 pounds overweight, that's why I only show this much, right? So if you're 50 pounds overweight and, you want to improve your health, then, I'm going to do carnivore and heal up. And maybe I can stick with it the rest of my life, or maybe I will add pears and peaches and I don't know. So, everyone has to find their own way. If you cheat and you feel bad, forgive yourself and just get back on the horse. You're going to be all right.
Yeah, I think that's a real big thing we've been talking around here about here, Jake, and that is showing grace. Grace to
Yeah.
other people, grace to yourself, because you're in this. This is for life. And okay, so I'm only 61 years young, but I would say this, and I think Mike would concur, and probably a few other people here. As you get older, and as you begin to ponder the great mysteries of life, you realize how long life really is. You know, I've had 3 or 4 careers, and I've been very
Yeah.
lucky and very blessed. But
Yep.
I think people get a little bit focused, think I have to have everything now, and don't realize how long life is. And you need to love yourself for the duration. So don't set yourself up for failure. And then
Right.
so that's my feelings there.
I had a boss. Her name is Mary Jo, super sweet, at Family Life Radio in West Texas. And I used to tell her, Mary Jo, don't kick yourself when you're down. Let us do that. Nice.
That's what love is for. But isn't that
Yeah.
what a true friend does for you? A true friend, in the Christian faith, we often have to say the very same thing, right?
We
That
get to encourage each other, Scott.
we encourage each other and we hold each other accountable. And sometimes
Yeah.
accountability is
Sometimes.
somewhat stressful,
Yeah.
and other times it's lifting you up, right? So I really
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that it comes down to And Mike, you can answer. You could talk to this. Well, everybody here can. Everybody here's an adult. We we need to be able to have discussions about discernment.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I
That's
don't
a good
know
one.
that we as a society have maintained a full understanding of employing that concept from our day-to-day routines to our most important ones.
So you know what did Jesus say? What did God say? I mean, he calls us sheep, you know, and he gets sad. He says, "My people have no shepherd." And in today's culture and all the craziness that's out there, everyone's doing what they think is right in their own eyes. And, you know, woe to you who call good evil and evil good. And we're seeing a lot of that. And yeah, it's a lack of discernment. It's a lack of teaching. It's a lack of lots of things. And so, I mean, it's one reason why I'm doing my other channel, that Jesus
Hmm.
is Coming Soon with Mike Shaw, and episode 3 was partly about that. Um, I talked about fear and how um, some people are using fear to get us to do things that aren't good for us, and they're lying as well. And unfortunately, because we tend to be sheep, a lot of people fall for it, and also the indoctrination that's been happening in schools for decades, just leading us down the garden path. And so, yeah, um, you know, my advice is always, you know, let Jesus find you. No one comes to the Father unless the Holy Spirit draw him. Become a Christian and read your Bible and get into a good Bible believing church and learn the Word, and your discernment will come.
Right, right, and I think the whole idea of discernment contains many elements that we bemoan are missing, such as accountability, discipline. Right? I mean, if you were saying, if you were to, you're pretty much an audiophile, aren't you, Mike?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm a gadget guy. I don't get deep into. I mean, I love music, and I have some music ability, but
Well,
so I guess in that sense.
so what it was when we say we want something discreet, right? And when you're doing audio work, when you want something discreet, and or when you're looking for discernment, you're looking for the ability to parse out. And you're not going to be very good at that if you don't practice that, if you don't have
Well,
something
that's true.
to model after, right?
Yes, that's life, man. You know, Jordan Peterson talks about you can't be the master, and if you're afraid to be the fool, because whenever you start something new, you're not going to be good. Or if you have natural ability, you might be kind of good, but you have to be willing to be the fool before you can be the master. And so, you know, you need to do all that stuff. Now, as far as accountability goes, you're absolutely right about that. And accountability is hard for everybody, but you also have to be careful. You can't go around hitting people over the head with the Anvil Bible. You really need to have a relationship where you are welcome to speak into their life, or if you're receiving accountability, that they're in a position that they can speak into yours. Otherwise, it's not going to go well.
Well, absolutely. And again, we said about it earlier that that's all contained within the construct of grace, right? Um, and I said it last night because I heard it this Sunday at that church I visited, where they said, we're always so full of grace to non-believers, but then when everybody says they're a believer, we get a lot of law, law, law. By the way, I just want to give a shout out. Hello there, Limitless Lindy. How you doing? How's the world down under today? I hope so. And by the way, Mike, people are asking for your other channel. So if you want to put that into, oh, I see you just put in there again. Good, good.
Yeah, I
Uh,
typed it in there. I hope I didn't typo it. It's really long.
no, no, it's good. So good to see
Yeah.
sheeple versus sheep. Susan says, yep, we got it. We got it in there. Good. And there it is right there on the screen. Hopefully, like you said, if we fat finger something, I'm sure we can
Yeah,
recover.
looks like I got it. Yep, that should do
All
it.
right.
Yep, that's the YouTube version. It's
All
also
right,
on
good.
iTunes and also Google Podcasts.
Very cool. Very good. Now, Lion says, I smell the donuts. I block before I get to the road shop. I smell them a block out. Well, we talked about that last night, Lioness, a little about how olfactory memory is one of your strongest memories. And I worked in a chicken shop once where we actually had to cut up the chickens and fry them and all that. And I got to be honest with you, I know that smell as well. So I'm sure each of us have smells that we are familiar with. Sugar with pain. There you go. That's one way. That's one way to go. It's the truth. Oh, we lost Mike there for a minute.
Yeah, it
Maybe he'll
froze
come
up.
back. Sugar with pain. And Susan comes in with Donna retired 20 years. She said, okay, all right, I get you. I get you. So I'm going to return back to what Stu was saying about helping me out with that first month. I appreciate that, but what I'd like to, and I'll hold you to it. But what I'm thinking I'll do is I will see how I can put up an app or something. Because see, I can't get monetized. I get over the 1,000 people and I can and the 4,000 hours. So I'm not going to put myself out that's going to happen anytime soon. But we're going to get there, and I'm not going to get crazy about it. So that's okay. Limitless Lindy says, so I'm a little late. Today's topic, well, today pretty much freewheeling. We started out a little bit talking about the hurricane stuff going on out there. Where is my hey buddy? There it is.
There
We're
we
talking
go.
about Hurricane Idalia coming across Florida. Franklin's out here, and then we have Tropical Depression 11 out there. And then we started talking about things like accountability and grace and tolerance and not getting too wrapped around the axle about how you approach your dietary structure, and that we're all here to help each other. Does that
Yep,
cover it pretty well what I did, folks?
that's a pretty good summary. You are now up to date.
Narnia Rays. I get that. I get that. Karen, Carnivore Journey, Hurricane Watch. Yeah. Now, if you go out there to the YouTubes, you'll see a bunch of weather people out there who are, I don't want to say negatively, weather nerds. And they're going to cover things in depth that I'm not even going to try to cover. My
Uh-huh.
job in the Air Force for 20 years was to do operational weather, and that's quite different than barbecue weather or disaster weather. We were literally forecasting to put warheads on foreheads, to get aircraft off and back, and all sorts of mission oriented stuff. So we had some slightly different parameters. But I can banter around some of the meteorological information.
Can you hear me okay?
I got you. You're not
Okay.
your voice and your
Sounds
lips
like
aren't
I'm
synced.
I'm out of sync, right? So it's funny. What you
Uncooked chicken. What's
remember?
that for?
Oh, they're probably talking about uncooked chicken.
Hmm.
Remember that movie, Rookie Academy or whatever, the Police Academy? They had like 6 of them,
Yeah.
and there was the guy who did the sound effects. And my favorite is the one. This one is like, "Let's fight."
They do that in a lot of movies, and they do. I like the one we did the gun on the thing and from the car. That was a terrible
The
thing.
guy was
Okay.
amazing. Yeah, the guy was amazing.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell
So I use my phone. I use one of my phones as my camera, and I
you.
use an app called Camo. And for some reason, the Camo app crashed, and I thought maybe my neighbor might have been watching a movie or something, maybe eating up my bandwidth.
Oh,
So
okay. Hey, I get
I don't
that,
know.
Dawn, about overdoing the weather. As a weather guy, I just,
Yeah.
I have to, I just go with it. But I do get a lot of requests from my pastor every time we're ready to have a picnic or anything going on here. He'll go, hey, and he'll call me out in front of the entire congregation. And luckily, I haven't blown any yet, but that's a lot of pressure. And I have to always remind him I'm in sales, not production. So
Yeah.
what you say is,
I
once you
do.
find that,
I do a lot of the audio visual for our church,
right?
and then remember I told you I played the cajon. you called it the cajon. So I played the cajon last Sunday, which was really wild because I'd never played the cajon before. I've never played the drums before.
Right.
But he's like, "You want to try it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And apparently, according to a couple of the singers that are friends of mine, that I did really well, and I was very happy about that. All I did was just kind of go with the music, and who knew? It was
Well,
fun.
I think a lot of that has to do with having natural talent. I mean, let's be honest there, you know?
So this is funny, but in fifth through eighth grade, I was first chair clarinet.
Aw.
I know, right? I do have a musical gift. Before my voice changed, I was a boy soprano and sang in a couple of the school productions and stuff. And I can still sing okay. I'm not great. I write parody songs. That was the "We are never ever gonna survive the weather. You go talk to Al Gore, talk to Al Roker, talk to me." Anyway, um, so I'm never going to be the next Weird Al, as you can tell.
Well, hey, look, I've got, like I said before, I've got a face for radio and a voice for print, and so
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. You know, you can't do too much with that. So, Laura, the weatherman
yeah.
plus a Christian man, good weather site. Oh yeah, cool.
There you
Well,
go,
Mike,
man.
you're talking about what do I want to do. I want to stop present. Okay, I want to stop that screen. I have another little hobby because I don't have enough hobbies. So
Okay.
that other hobby is not going to come up. So never mind. Well,
Oh,
that's a bummer. Bummer, bummer. I've got this program called FL Studio,
okay.
and I can make music in it. You know,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So I can.
I have something similar on my computer. It's called GarageBand.
Yeah. So I can like anyway. I can do all sorts of things, and it's kind of fun. But anyway, that's just another annoying hobby of mine. I'm trying to learn to write
Yeah,
some. I think I'd write my own backing tracks for this.
right. I mean, that's brilliant because you won't get a copyright strike unless
Right.
you copyright strike yourself, which would be weird. Susan's a singer.
Yes.
Susan Hampton, she singers it up. We should get
Yep.
the band back together.
I get the band back together. And have any of you
Yeah, let's
gone
get
out?
the band back together.
Have any of you gone out recently to listen to Robert Bubba Baker's videos?
Who's that?
Who's that? Okay. Let me get my screen together. See
Do
what
I
I
know
can do here
Robert
to
Bubba
get
Baker? Maybe I do know
Robert
Robert Bubba Baker.
Robert Bubba Baker, and he
It sounds familiar. Is he a carnivore guy?
yes, he's an
Okay.
older fella like myself, right? And
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up
You're
his
pretty
web
ancient.
page.
You're like a whole year ahead of me.
There we go. Here he comes. That's him right there, and that's his.
Okay.
And you can see this is his page, and he's a
Does he
stoic.
sing?
And
Oh yeah, he's
Robert,
a stoic. You had him on, didn't you?
yeah, he came on one night. Well,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah. I was on
guitarist.
with him.
Yeah, he's a guitarist, and he plays some pretty doggone
That's
good
cool, man.
licks as backing tracks
Uh-huh.
on his broadcast.
Wow. That's awesome. That's pretty good. Um, I like to sing. I don't know that people like it when I do sing. Don Mertz is a singer. Look at that.
Yeah, and
He's a
then
soprano.
Allison comes in saying, "Hey, she likes it. That this is a tribe of where we find many common interests
Yeah,
here."
that's right. Yeah, Allison and I were talking earlier. She and Laura too. So Allison and Laura are big into horses. And Allison used to ride horses in Wyoming, I guess, trail rides,
Oh,
giving people
cool.
tours or something. I mean, that's amazing. It's just beautiful in Wyoming. And I drove last year. Was it? Yeah, it was last. Was it last year? Yeah, last summer. I drove from Lubbock, Texas to my dad's place north of Missoula, Montana. And
Mm,
so I went straight up 25 through Wyoming, and I had a 40-mile-an-hour tailwind. I got 45 miles to the gallon and normally get 35. It was awesome.
yeah, yeah.
And gas was 405 at that time. So it was really neat. It's like God wanted me to see my dad. It was so cool.
Well, that's good. That's
And
good. And
Wyoming
having lived
is
in
beautiful.
Nebraska for a long time and driven all around,
Yeah,
and the position I had, I got a chance to do a lot of traveling, and
right.
had a good chance to see parts of, well, almost the only states I haven't seen are up in New England, and I have
Yeah.
not been to Alaska.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I've been to all the states.
Yeah, you've been to a lot more than I have. I've been to a little more than half. I have been to, I think I counted them up, 27 states or something.
Yeah, like I said, New
Mhm.
England, and Alaska are the only states I haven't been in, and I mean like not just driven through, but actually had to stop and do things. So, but the
Yeah.
military is really,
Well, I count the driving through because that's because I'm cheating, I guess. But
yeah.
um,
Hey Don, I
I've been to,
played the I
go
played the
ahead.
baritone in grade school.
I bet. Yeah, I could see that. The
Yeah.
big baritone guy. Yep. And
Um,
the little soprano guy. Yeah, makes sense.
well, you talk about funny. My grandfather, my great grandfather, actually came to the United States. He was a singer in a Welsh men's group, and the Welsh
Whoa.
people who invented 4-part harmonies, right?
Cool. I didn't know they invented it.
Yeah, and so they actually would tour the world. And they're still known as tremendous choral groups. And so he toured around the United States because, and he was a baritone, so he could sing. Had a very wide range, and baritones are asked to do torturous things. But he actually he actually came over on the boat many times, and maybe I'll bring him on one night, but I have postcards from like Denver, Dallas, St. Louis, where he toured, and they're all the fanfold ones
Oh,
with the
wow. Yeah.
stamp on them from 1904,
Wow.
1906. And he actually ended up
That's probably
singing.
worth some money, brother.
Man, the family.
Yeah.
He actually sang
Yeah,
in the White
exactly.
House for Woodrow Wilson. He sang at Carnegie
Nice.
Hall and all those things. And
Wow.
I didn't get that talent.
I, I bet you did. You
No, I
probably
can
just
sing
haven't
loud, not
developed
well.
it.
No.
Okay. All right.
Hey, homesick Buckeye
John,
Russ, how you doing? Good to see you, brother.
what up, family? What up?
Hey, Russ.
Just
There's
when
the
I'm looking
link.
over here, I'm looking at the chat. So yeah.
Yeah, Russ, if you want to jump in, there's the link. Okay,
Right.
marching band moved yet, never got to march. Yep. Oh, the Dallas Women's Choir, awesome.
Right. It's impressive. Look at this.
Now I
A bunch
did.
of musicians,
Yeah.
a bunch of believers.
Yep. My wife and I
It's
actually sang
crazy.
backup. We actually sang backup with our church choir for Stephen Curtis Chapman uh,
Yeah.
at, at the
I
Double
met
Word.
him backstage one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When I worked at Family Life Radio, we sponsored one of his concerts, and I got to meet him. He's the same
Yeah.
height I am. Little
Oh,
short guy.
yeah. I remember because
Yeah.
I kind of towered over him. Hey, there he is, the
Yep.
man, the myth, the legend.
What's going on,
Homesick
brother?
Buckeye.
What's happening? What's going on, family?
Didn't I just see you? Didn't I just see you on some barbecue
Hey,
show?
listen, man, and I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. A little bit of
Why?
me goes a long way. I know. That's too much, man. It's too much.
It's
Yeah.
Carnivore
So, yeah,
Fest,
we just
is what
finished
it
our
is.
show and our live show and our wrap up. We do a little post show meeting and talk about next week's show and all that. And so while I've still got all the lights and the cameras and all that stuff up, I thought I'd pop over and see my man Scott. He's always shows me love. He always is looking out for me, man. So the least I can do is come on to his channel and say hey, and I appreciate all the love, man, all the support, all the comments and all that, man. And I appreciate you, brother.
No, we appreciate you because I liked what Dr. Tony had to say there about, in this world of carnivore, we have a central theme, and Keto Carnivore, we have a central theme that unites us, and that is our health, you know, and through that lens, we are able to dispense with some of the sillier things that life throws at us because our health is so important.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say slaughtering meat is what we have in common, but whatever.
No, I pay a
It
man to
works.
I pay a man to slaughter the meat. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's right.
But hey, but I do want to take exception there with you, Russ. Okay, are you ready for this? I'm gonna mention
Sure.
one word: chitlins.
Oh, I don't eat those either, brother.
Yeah, but some brothers be eating them.
Yes, yes, yeah, and they're not chitterlings. They
I
are
know.
chitlins. Yeah, that's right.
I,
Yeah,
I know better. So, but
I
I just
got
had
you.
to. I always just had to bring that up because
That's
I know
funny,
a
but
lot of
yeah,
people
no,
don't.
I don't eat that either. But yes, you're right. There's a lot of folks that do eat that. Yes,
So you were
Yeah,
talking
that's an
about
interesting organ.
cakes and pies and all that stuff, and my grandparents lived in Mississippi, Mama and Papa. And
Yeah,
so, we'd go visit and we'd go to the primitive Baptist church in the woods somewhere. And
yeah,
then the potluck afterwards. And Mama made this caramel cake. And the caramel frosting was literally caramelized sugar. So it's just
yeah,
pure sugar. You
yeah,
need a welding torch to cut it.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was, that's,
Man, that's how
yeah,
we came up
that's how
eating,
we
man. I
grew up.
mean, I talk about, I
Yep.
did a series on my channel called My Overweight Life, and just talked about my whole life. I mean, I developed a weight problem when I was 8 years old. And yeah, we ate all the wrong things and we ate for all the wrong reasons. And just coming up, that's what you learn to eat. That's the foods you learn that you love eating, all the good times
Yep.
that go along with it. And again, it starts a cycle that you carry with you through your life of what you eat, when you eat, how much you eat. The Clean Plate Club. I mean, they pile
Yeah.
your plate high with mashed potatoes and corn and rice and pasta and a roll and cornbread, and you had to eat it
Yes.
all. And if you
Yeah. The whole thing.
did,
Sorry, go
the
ahead.
reward for that was cake and ice cream.
Well,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and and if you didn't eat it, you offended some auntie or you
Yeah,
offended one of your cousins, and then you
Oh,
didn't
oh,
want
it
that,
was
right?
worse
yeah,
than that. It was worse than that. You couldn't leave the table till you're done. The whole
yeah.
family's off doing other stuff. And you
That's right.
still have, a
That's
pile
right.
of green beans that you don't want.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's cultural. So again, you learn those bad habits and
Yeah.
you carry them with you through your life. And like I said, I don't blame them. It's come on, but people don't know about metabolic health now, so they darn sure didn't know about it 40 years ago. Um, but yeah, that's for me where it started. And I think for a lot of people that's where it starts. But
Yep.
thank goodness you found, you find the right things and you can do the right things, you can do better and be better.
And it's a tough cycle to break. I mean, I,
Oh
I
yeah.
worked I worked in the medical field as a data analyst in a hospital for a number of years, and I would tell you, people just don't want to give it up. This is how my grandma, my grandpa did it, and how
Absolutely.
and it's tough,
Well, there's so many hurdles. You have to,
right?
for some people anyway. For some people, it's easier. I mean, some people they just cold turkey it. I can't. I'm not a guy that can cold turkey things. I got a hot turkey things, So, but you have to overcome, your desires and addictions, for lack of a better term, your cultures and their habits, and traditions. And then you have to fight, your friends and relatives and your doctors in many cases. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot for the average person to overcome to get knee deep into this lifestyle because like I said, if you're having, if you're okay with one side of it, well, here comes your doctor telling you it'll kill you, you know. And I try to
Yeah.
explain to people, eh, eh, I don't know, it's almost like people get in the lifestyle and forget all the fears that they had before they got in it. I mean, this is seriously, people ridicule folks for listening to their doctor, like, oh, that doctor's a dummy, or oh, that doctor's this, or that doctor's wrong. That If Dr. Berry came out tomorrow and said, "Don't eat thick cut bacon anymore, it's going to kill you," everybody would stop buying thick cut bacon because he's the doctor we listen to. And even though some of us might be like, "Well, that doesn't make sense. What thick cut, thin cut, bacon's bacon." If he said, "I've done some research and I've done some studying, and you shouldn't eat thick cut bacon, stop eating it," I guarantee you 75% of people would stop doing it just because he's our doctor and said so. So if we put that kind of faith in our doctor and are going to do what he tells us to do, why are you surprised when somebody puts that kind of faith in their doctor? When he tells them this diet's going to kill you.
Perfect.
I really think that the approach that works the best is you walk the walk that you've been talking. And again, we started this whole thing off, Russ, talking about the concept of having grace. You know, the golden rule applies: do unto others you'd have them do unto you, right? Here's a good one I tried to talk about last night. Why do we take something that applies over multiple domains in our life and then not apply it to this one?
Yeah. Well, listen, I'd have a different rules. Do unto others and run like hell. You know, that's
Oh, wait a minute, Russ, where you running? Where you running, brother?
Yes, well, that was when I was a younger man. That's what I did when I was a younger man.
Right. Yes. Back in the day.
But seriously, I mean, I think it. But honestly, I think that's a human being thing. It's like, you know, if you used to be a drinker and now you're not a drinker anymore, and you see somebody drinking and you've, you know, been sober for a long time, you kind of sometimes can have a condescending look and like you've forgotten how low you were drinking. It's just because you're over it now and you're through it now. That guy's like, "Well, you need to put that bottle down." Okay, have you forgotten when you were a drunk? You know? So I approach it a little differently than some. And I'm not criticizing anybody or that. I'm not trying to make any beef or anything. I have my brand of evangelism and I go about it my way, and I connect with the people that I can connect with, and other people do it their way and connect with who they can connect with.
Well, you know, I really think that, you know, what you talked about there really does speak to the fact that we have to remember from where we come from and how we get to it. And the people that don't do that, I found them to fall in two camps. I had a good guy. He was in my men's group, my men's accountability group for a couple of years. He came to Christ because his meth lab blew up in his face, literally. And he hit the ground, got to his bed, and he said, "God, if you can rescue me from this, I'm yours for life." Well, he became a New King James argumentative perfectionist, right? But I had to tell my group as we went through it. We ran into some hard times. I said, let's remember where he came from and what he's fighting, because if he lets go for a minute, if he lets go for an inch, he might go all the way off the rails. And he did one time, right? Otherwise, you got the other camp of people that sit there and say, I remember where I come from, and I choose to like Kenoa Reeves or Kenoa. I can't remember. Kenoa Reeves. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Keanu.
Thank you, Keanu. Keanu's a down to earth guy, right? Some people remember, other people they don't remember because maybe the pain is too much. Maybe they don't feel strong enough. Maybe they're harboring hurt. Because what's that saying? Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
So that's why
it's true. And then, you know, different people have different bents, you know, different spiritual gifts. You know, some people are prophets, they're a little harder edge. Some people I'm a mercy guy. So like I give everyone slack and I go too far on that end. And you know, it takes all of us to balance each other out.
Yeah, we're human beings. We're not machines. I mean, so, you know, and everybody's, like I said, some people are cold turkey and they can just throw everything out and just eat meat and water forever. And other people just can't do that. And, you know, for me, my biggest fear is just not being able to sustain what I'm doing. That's why I do it the way I do it. I can't imagine anything worse than losing 200 pounds and gaining it back. I mean, and I know people who have done it. I know people who've had the surgeries and gained it back, and I'm just like, no matter what, I don't care if I lose 1 pound or 100 pounds or whatever I lose, I want it gone forever. And, again, that's why I approach, I began with the end in mind. And, I say it all the time. To me, it's more important to do what you can do and sustain than to just go as hard as you can. And who cares if you eat nothing but meat and water for 2 weeks and then you're, in the line at McDonald's. I mean, it's like, who cares? I mean, that what's the point of that? That's the yo-yo dieting and all that stuff. When you get yourself into situations that you can't sustain. So I'd rather do it a slower and steadier way that I know I can sustain. And I'm perfectly happy to lose this weight the same way I gained it.
Well, you speak of something very important there. We kind of touched on it last night a bit when we had more of a manic Monday mental health day, and that is, a lot of weight gain for people, particularly if it's a non-physiological thing, is wrapped up into a lot of emotional aspects. And if you don't take care of that, how many times have we seen one person quit one addiction and pick up another? I stopped smoking, but now I'm eating all this other stuff. And so you have to do that root cause analysis, and that takes time. It's painful. And we talked about this with failure last night. It's not failure. You just found a new way not to do something. You hope you can pick yourself up. So if your way is to go into this with a slow, steady approach, that's great. For me, I went cold turkey because I have no internal discipline. All my life, I've had external discipline. And so if I don't go in all the way and do things like this, I'm skittish. I will go to the next bright, shiny object and I'm out. And then I'm right back to where I was hating it.
Yeah, I'm just the opposite of that. I don't do well with big changes. Big drastic changes. I don't. My normals, my habits, my routines are like a gravitational pull for me. I always go back to my routine, my habit, my normals. So for me, I was talking to, I think, Rachel, the Two Crazy Ketos, about this. It was interesting to her. I said, if I go to a restaurant, when I go to a restaurant, not if, when I go to a restaurant, whatever restaurant I go to, 99.9% of the time I get the same thing. I've been to Longhorn probably no less than 50 times in my life, and I've only had one thing.
And
the outlaw ribeye with double, I used to get potatoes and stuff like that. Now, I get like double broccoli and, sweet tea, but now I get water. It's changed a little bit. But for 15 years before I started eating how I eat now, it was the ribeye with the, potatoes and stuff. And I'd eat half the loaf of bread and I'd drink a gallon of sweet tea and, the whole 9 yards. If I go into that restaurant and I order my broccoli, let's say, and they say, well, we don't have broccoli this time. We're out of broccoli. I'll say, okay, well, what do you have? Well, we have asparagus. Okay, I'll take asparagus. It could be the best asparagus I've ever had in my life. The next time I come in there, what do you think I'm going to order?
Broccoli.
You're damn right. Because that's what I do. And that's the way I am in virtually every aspect of my life. It's funny, when I lived in Columbus, I've been in harness racing for years. I've owned harness horses since the 90s. And in the summertime in Columbus, Ohio, the racetrack, the Souda Downs, is open from May to September. And for the better part of 15 years, I sat in the same spot every Saturday night from May to September for probably 15 years. One day I was sitting there and a friend of mine tapped me on I hadn't seen for probably 6 or 7 years. At the top of my shoulder, I turn around and there's a guy I hadn't seen for like at least 5 years. He said to me, I told my wife when I left the house, I'd find you right here. That's who I am. So for me to win, I have to change my normals. I have to change my routines. I have to change my habits. It's going to take a while to do it. It's like turning around a cruise liner. But once I do that, now I'm locked in. You see? And so my routines, my habits, my normals have all changed over the past year. So now it's easy. The hard part was over the past year, getting myself to the place where I have new normals. So yeah, I can go eat that. I talked about it on my site. When I went to the Ketogenic Summit in Orlando, on the way home, I stopped at Taco Bell and got a sweet tea and a burrito from the Ketogenic Summit. Okay. It was 1:00 in the morning and I was hungry, and that's what it ended up being. But guess what? When I got home, woke up the next morning, steak and eggs for breakfast. Because that's my routine. That's my normal.
And that's good.
Yeah.
I always told people through my life, I've had to do like everybody else, overcome various obstacles, right? And what I've learned is once I get over one, I find two more, or someone will show it to me. But that it's not bad to have an obstacle, a challenge, or a problem. What I think is bad is if one, you're unaware of them, or two, you're unwilling to deal with them, right? So like I have my hearing aids in because my lack of hearing causes my vocal patterns to get poorer. I know it's hard to believe, but they can get poorer, and I get too loud and compensating. So I make sure I put my ears in, and sometimes before I start, I have another channel where I do Bible reading. I got to put my ears in, because I'd rather have my ears in than make the mistakes. And that repeats itself in multiple places in my life, is that ignorance is curable, stupidity hurts.
Yeah. No, I love that. But everybody's different.
You're a little tougher than I am. A little rougher edge on that kind of stuff than I am.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, from what Scott said, I don't know. I just give people more of a break. I guess it's because I'm the mercy guy. And, I just know that I fall down a lot and I'm not real happy about it. And so it's like, if you run into that brick wall enough times, maybe you'll figure it out. But, and I know you have this heart too, Scott, that you want to help them figure it out. And that's what I love about this community. It's like the ladies are having church in the chat right now. And it's like, there's just so many believers in this community, and everyone is so stinking nice and supportive and, just telling stories about, how this diet has helped so much and how God has led them to it. And I mean, it's really cool. I'm just glad I found y'all.
Well, I don't know. My theory on that is, the vast majority of people that I've met, I'd say north of 80%, started this life because of pain of some type, whether it was a medical problem, overweight, Medicaid, just whatever, some type of hurt, some type of pain, some type of suffering is what got people here. So it's kind of hard, to not be joyful when you're let out of prison,
Yes.
or when you're when you found a key, to unlock the door to a place you want to go. It's, I say it all the time, man, to people, because people say, "Oh, I love your passion," or "I love your energy." And and sometimes I get emotional about it. And I tell people, man, if you can't get emotional about this, you ain't suffered enough. It's that simple. You ain't suffered enough. Tell a guy that's been locked in a prisoner camp for 40 years not to jump up and down when he gets out. Try that.
Yeah.
Bill Nye.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Bill Nye, the science guy?
No, Bill Knott up in Alaska,
Oh,
4
Bill
years.
Knott. Oh, in Alaska. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
locked in for 4 years. I remember when one time
Yeah.
I was being in the military. I was sent somewhere for a period of time, and we're kind of in a lockdown situation, right? And that when that freedom bird comes for it, I knew a guy. He was so desperate, and God rest his soul. He was so desperate. He just walked and got on a plane. He left his weapons, his gear, and then he got on a plane. I'm going home now. The heck with what happens to me. I'm leaving now. You know, it happens.
Yeah, no. So I think that's the common thread in the community, why people are so nice and so giving. And so, man, these are people who have been through stuff, man. These are people who've been through a lot. And so, I mean, my story, man, it's nothing compared to so many other people talking about, killing themselves and the depression and the thing. I was a happy fat guy most of my life. I didn't have any of those issues. I've never taken a medication other than penicillin in my life. My A1C, I'm 500 pounds. My A1C is 5. I mean,
Wow.
I didn't have any of those problems. Health problems. I don't have any health problem that I know of other than being overweight. So I didn't have any of those type of issues. I just was physically, to a point where I couldn't hold my own weight. I couldn't stand up long enough to shave. I
Oh my
couldn't
goodness.
take my trash to the curb. I couldn't, stand up long enough to scramble eggs.
Quality of life issues.
Yeah, exactly. So, I didn't have some of the medical issues or the depression issues and stuff. Even through all of that, I was still the same moron that I am now. I mean, I always talk about having a depression resistant mind.
Well, you're a believer. How long you been a believer, Russ?
I'm not a Christian.
Sound like
Oh,
you
you're
might.
not? No, you had me fooled.
Well, it's funny. People, I that's funny. That's funny.
I'm not, and no
Well,
judgment
okay.
here.
No. It's fine. Listen, man. If you see my channel, my life is an open book, man. I got nothing. I don't hide really much of anything. I grew up in the church. I have church influence, but I never joined the church.
Yeah.
Never got baptized. The old saying, I had a drug problem. I got drugged to church every week.
Yep.
So yeah, my dad had to wrestle with me from the time I was probably 8 or 9 years old. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't find anything interesting about it. Didn't want to go. I love people of faith. My dad has preached in prisons for 40 years. My entire family
Great.
is Christian, but I don't,
Mhm.
I'm not an atheist or anything like that, but I've never been a member of any church. But I
Sure.
of course have the influence, no doubt
Well,
about that. And
Well, I just met
people
you.
tell me that
I
all
just
the
met
time.
you today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just met you today, so I haven't seen your channel yet or any of your
Yeah.
stories. I just, I was on the last live that you guys do together, and the first time I saw that, which was cool.
Yeah, I saw
Carrie
you in
brought
the
a bunch
chat.
of us over
Appreciate
there.
that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So I definitely will be back. And
Thank you.
I think your story about the Seventh-day Adventists really intrigued me because um, they're kind of messed up. So,
Yeah,
I don't know that much about them, except they're
with all
pretty
due respect,
legalistic about
seriously,
something.
seriously, let me just say
Yeah,
this. I hear this all the
sure.
time, and 99% of it's from people who don't know anything about it. And no disrespect to anybody, but I can tell you, as a person who's not a member, never been a member,
Mhm.
never going to be a member, okay, I have no axe to grind with them or no dog in the fight. But I hear all this stuff. Let me tell you, Seventh-day Adventists are no different. The only difference between Seventh-day Adventism and any other religion, there's two major differences. One is they worship on Saturday because of the fourth commandment, and the diet is the same as Jewish. It comes from Leviticus. Other than that, I promise you, there's no other, every religion has their prophets. Every religion has their people they revere. They worship, they believe in God. They worship Jesus. They baptize people in water. There's nothing. I've visited many churches. There's nothing odd about a Seventh-day Adventist church other than they worship on Saturday and their diet is the same as Jewish. So all this stuff, oh, they're a cult and they're this and they're that. That's not been my experience. And like I said, I haven't been to church in 25 years. I don't even own a Bible, but I've been to lots of different churches. What have you heard that makes them different than any other religion? Like what?
So I wouldn't accuse him of being a cult. My feeling is, and you described it pretty well. I knew that they, it's kind of legalism is what I would say. Sort of like what Paul got on the church for in Galatians, because they were going back to some Jewish traditions. But I'm not saying they're not Christian or not saved. It's just probably just different emphases that I would say are probably not the best doctrine. But
I mean, there's hypocrites in every church. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, I haven't found them. Like I said, I've been to Baptist churches. I've been to Church of God in Christ. I've been to non-denominational. I've been to, and I'm telling you, I don't. We sing that they sing the same hymns. They pray the same prayers. I mean, I don't. You know, I don't see much difference. Like I said, other than the worship thing and like I said, the diet. I don't see much difference.
So
it's always. I mean, it's like Methodists will tell you Episcopalians are this. Everybody's got their own, things that are a little different.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
So my 2 cents on this topic, so to speak, right, it is as follows. Your relationship with God is your relationship with God.
Absolutely.
And churches run by men have been known to be corrupted. So,
of course.
So, no, I have Oakwood University here in Huntsville, Alabama, funded by the Seventh-day Adventists, right?
Absolutely.
In 1896. And I
Absolutely.
run across people all over. And what I find mostly, like when we do service works out in the community, and now that I'm retired, I do more and more of them, right? It is not my concern where you have affiliated and put your church home or not church home. But if I'm around people who are aware of God, who worship God and have a relationship with God, I don't have the time, the wherewithal, or the acumen to debate your doctrine. I'm just worried about you're going to love people. I mean, the Bible is pretty clear. Seek God and live. After that, you guys can go ahead and get all the pickup sticks figured out.
Yeah, and even like Chafee, like one time I was on a stream with him, and I'm kind of cool with him, and he was, he's like, it's evidence this and evidence that. I'm like, dude, no, they don't. He's like, William, I said, I went to Seventh-day Adventist boarding school, Seventh-day Adventist college. My dad is works for the church. I'm like, you realize like only 35% of Adventists are vegetarian. They serve meat in their hospitals. It's not what you're thinking. And he goes, really? I said, let me tell you something. That 35% number is from the church. So it's probably less than that.
Well, look, I went to
35%. It's probably 30. When I was growing up, I didn't know anybody that didn't eat meat. Our pastor ate meat. And it was in the 70s, 80s. Ellen White's been dead for 100 years. I mean, it's just not. It's not what people think it is. I mean, it just isn't.
Well, look, like I went to Haiti on a mission trip, all right, with my church.
Yeah.
We do medical missions and all this. So we go down there and we're learning about voodoo. And what you think you know about voodoo and what voodoo really is night and day difference. Now, it's not good. I'm not good with it, right?
Yeah.
But people don't understand how it. So I do believe that we have many, many big things to take care of within our own lives and in our own walk, right?
Sure.
And predicated on that, like I would say, Russ, that you've been a man who for your whole life you've been covered up in prayer.
Oh, you better believe it.
So
you better believe it, man. My Aunt Wanda, that's probably the reason I used to joke about it sometimes. My Aunt Wanda had Jesus' cell phone number. I mean, I'm like, hey, I'm like, it's like, some people be like, well, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm like, well, I would joke with them like, well, you're praying to that ceiling fan. I want my Aunt Wanda to pray for me. She's got Jesus' cell phone number.
Hey,
So,
look, we got laid in church just like that, and everybody says
yeah,
if you want to get prayed up, you go to her.
yeah,
What got to me is this idea
yeah,
is that would be a blessing for me as a believer in my church if someone would say, hey, you go to Scotty with the thing. First
yeah,
thing you're gonna get some scripture and you'll get some prayer.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No,
But
listen, I'm it's just not for me. I don't I have sent more people to church probably than had the people to go to church. When people come to me with problems or issues, I ask them, hey, do you pray? Do you read the Bible? Do you maybe you want to try that? That helps a lot of people. Like I said, my dad has preached in prisons, for 40 years. And that's his passion, that's his calling, and the relationship he has with those men, it's amazing, and the lives that he's changed in that. My man, there's no way you can tell me my dad's not a man of God. He eats meat. I mean,
Yeah,
he makes the best beef ribs I've ever had in my life, and I've had a lot of beef ribs. So it's
that's
just like
good.
I said. I mean, but I understand people. The Muslim, the Jewish person, the Catholic. People love their religions and think that their religions are right for them, and it's just a human being thing. But like I said, I can tell you as somebody who was in it, I was never brainwashed or never, I've heard so many goofy things over the years. Oh, well, they did this. No, they didn't. It wasn't like that at all. Just a
Yeah.
church.
right.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything like that, and I probably need to repent and apologize a little bit for being a little
I'm not
too
a member of the church. You're not a
just
prophet to me.
just stereotyping, I guess. But you're not a member of the church, I get that.
No,
But I still feel bad about jumping
oh,
to conclusions from what I've heard from just a few people.
I don't
You
blame you.
know,
We all do that, man. If like for
exactly.
instance, Jehovah's Witnesses. Now I don't know
Yeah,
a lot about them. I know very
yep,
little. Or Scientology
yeah.
or these other things.
I know a little.
I don't know much about
Yeah,
them, but I can pretty much virtually guarantee what I do know probably is only half true. You know, I'm
yeah.
I'm just
I
gonna
grew
guess.
up with some.
You know,
I grew up
Yeah,
with some Jehovah Witnesses, and we thought it was cool because they didn't have to, well, part of it wasn't cool. They couldn't go trick or treating. They weren't allowed to do stuff like
right,
that. But
right,
in school they got out of stuff because they were Jehovah Witness. So it was pretty.
yeah,
So we were like, dude, how did you get out of that? That's against my religion.
hey,
yeah,
I think what we've all agreed to say here is that in the carnivore community, the different ideas, even about something as personal as your faith, aren't going to get in the way of our health journey.
I certainly
And
hope
and
not.
no, well, no, and well, I would hope not also, but it does talk to what you said earlier there, Russ, about we all got here because of a much deeper hurt. And I think predicated on a foundation like that, and then seeing, I mean, look, when I listen to a carnivore Kip or of course Carrie, those people who lost the big weight and have been doing this for a couple of years, and I know what the struggle is for me, whether it's my personal struggle, the struggle with my family, or all that. I mean, I've often said, because back when I was in politics, right? In politics, you're going to fall on a political spectrum, except in the state of Nebraska, which is a unicameral, and that's where I was from. But you're still going to be in a political, they're going to peg you. And I went
Yeah,
to a high school reunion, and I was only invited because I held high office, so to speak, type thing, right? And I went because I was. But anyway, when I got there, people wanted to come up and rush me about questioning me and all their doctrine. I said, look, 80% of what we hold dear, we agree upon.
yeah.
The other 20%, to some varying degree of hostility, we don't. So can we spend this one day on the 80%? We don't have to always shove
Absolutely.
it.
And I think certainly in my case is more than that. And I've had a little bit of, again, it's just I chalk it up to just the human condition. I really don't. I don't think
Yeah.
it's personal. I just think human beings have certain needs to do things. But my brand of evangelism is more catered to people who are not in our life and not in our lifestyle. I love hanging out with the carnivores. I love hanging out with people that are doing what we do, but there's not a lot that I can tell you or show you if you're a carnivore. If your carb number is 0, what are we going to talk about? I mean, as it pertains to ketogenic living, you know what I mean? So, but to a person who's uninitiated, these titles, carnivore, ketovore, you wouldn't believe how many people don't know what a carnivore is.
That's sad to have to say. I agree.
And they damn sure don't know what a ketovore is. Okay.
When I said the word ketovore, she thought I said something else.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it was funny.
So I use carb number. When I'm with the family, I talk about ketovore, dirty this, dirty that, because we talk that, we get that. But I spend time with people who they still got a donut in their hand. I can't talk to them about autophagy. I mean,
You gotta know your audience.
Yeah, so it's like
That's
I
funny.
use carb number, and I'm like, hey, what's your carb number? What do you mean? I don't know. What's with 90% of people? I don't know. Well, you should know. You need to know. Here's why. And invariably a week or they'll come out, I ate 419 carbs yesterday. I'm like, yeah, well, let's try to get to 410 tomorrow. How about that? You know what I mean? And work in that aspect. And even, like I said, it's like, if my number bounces between 10 and 15. All right. I just claim 15 because that's a little more honest. And I can always cover that. But you're talking about 15 carbs in a whole day. Your plate ain't that much different than mine.
Right.
You're talking about 7 carbs a meal. That ain't a lot.
Nope.
You can blow through that pretty quick.
About here. So it's like, but some people feel like, oh, you're trying to hijack this. Or people want to get into their tribes and they want to just be in their club. I don't have time for that. We have a world of sugar sick souls to save. And I'm not going to get bogged down in these categories of dirty this and clean that and keto to control. No, I'm going to do the carb number. It's working for me and the folks that I talk with. It's easy to communicate. Everything else in our health is numbers, our blood pressure, our weight, our glucose, our this, is that. Why not carb number? To me, it seems simple, easy. If you tell me your carb number is 0 and I tell you mine is 7, we know where we are. We don't have to put a label. And you got guys like Saladino calling himself a carnivore eating berries and honey every day.
No.
And it's confusing.
He's meat and fruit. You are an evangelist and a preacher.
Yeah, that's the guy. But if your carb number is 30, I don't know that you're a carnivore.
So, but the thing is it's imperative that we make this approach understanding. If you've ever looked at Dr. Paul Saladino and what he does all day, the guy's a beast. He has the latitude. I'm trying to get healthy. I'm trying to, I have a 6-pack, but it's covered by a pony keg. So before I can go off on the fruit thing, I got to get down to where, you can see that. Yeah. I was saying, I went on a little rant. I went on a little rant today on another live because I tried to do a live early today so my people in Europe and around the world could get in. And I started saying, if you're going to be someone who's looking to remodel your body, you should spend a little time learning about it, right? I mean, we got guys out there that can take a car apart and put it back together again, but they couldn't tell you it's my gut. Anything from my chest down to my below my hips is my gut. And they don't know all that goes on. They don't know that fat in your diet comes in through what they call a lacteal on a villi in your small intestines and goes all the way up to the cistern up here in your heart to get dumped in your portal vein, right? It would be incumbent upon us to understand a little bit more than the arm bone is hooked to the ham bone, right? Because we're trying to do the toughest thing we've ever done. We are trying to remodel our bodies. Yeah. So it goes right with what you were saying, I think, in that we get so caught up in titles because I think maybe we're hiding behind our ignorance. I don't know. I could be wrong. But
no, I just think it's human nature to click up. just to
Yeah.
have a club or have a gang or have a
The
tribe
tribe
or
thing.
have something you belong
That's
to.
true. That's true.
I'm a this, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm a carnivore, I'm a this, I'm a that. I just think that's human nature. It's just something that we do. But like I said, and again, I don't know why some people are out here. I think most people are out here for the right reasons. Maybe some people, are different. They want to have their club, their tribe, their, clique. And if you're not doing what we do, then go over there. Whatever.
Well,
God bless
I
people.
think part of that human nature, we like to simplify things. All of us have heard if you walk into a room, you are putting an assessment on a person 8 seconds or less. And
Sure.
the reason we do that out of a need of safety, and it's easier. If you see somebody who happens to be wearing a MAGA hat, you've got them all defined. If you see someone wearing a Joe Biden bumper sticker, you got them all figured out. And the truth of the matter is, there is no way you can know everything about a person.
Right.
They don't even know it about themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
I mean, you're right. I mean, I agree with that, So like I said, but for me, I know why I'm out here. I'm a ketogenic evangelist, and I don't care,
You are.
if your number is 0 or if your number is 5,000. I say it all the time. If your number is 0, hallelujah. You found us, you're living the life, you're getting the benefits. If your number is 5,000, hallelujah, you found us. We can wrap our arms around you and get you on the road to better health.
So
So
here's the real question, Russ. Here's the important question. How then Buckeyes going to do this year?
Um,
Pretty good.
we're always pretty
They're gonna
good,
be
but
pretty good. Yeah.
but again, we've got some question marks. Okay, we got a lot of guys left last season. Our defense wasn't really that great last year, and I don't know how it's going to get better. You just have to wait and see. That's the thing about college football. You have totally different teams year after year after year. So, and the thing too, we have talent. It's a matter of can we put it all together?
Isn't
And
that,
especially we've got a lot of young people,
Right.
young
being in
freshmen.
Bama, I feel the same way. And I always say this following thing, because I used to get really wrapped up when I was in Nebraska with the Cornhuskers and now down here in
Yep.
Bama. And this is what I say. We're putting our joy in the hands of young men who don't know how to make their bed or flush a toilet. You know what I mean? I'm like, look,
Let's hope they
go
know how to
serve,
flush the toilet.
go serve
Yeah.
your country for a few years, getting shot at, and I might put my joy in you. But my thing being is, we do tend to be, as a people, want to surrender, and I do mean our joy. Like, I don't mean about friendly competition, but I know in
Yeah.
Nebraska when they were winning all the national championships, at the bottom they had a chyron at the bottom of the TV that would say, if you're being abused by someone, please call this number, because people would get violent if
Yeah.
if the Huskers lost.
Yeah. I'm not that kind of fan. I mean, I love the Buckeyes and the Bengals.
No.
I watch all the games, but
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to have a bad day if they win or lose. I tell you who I'm really excited to see this year. That's Colorado. With Coach Prime out there.
Oh,
I
well,
can't wait to see that.
it takes time.
I've been watching their YouTube channel and kind of following, the whole thing. They do a lot of social media. He's a different generation of coach. The players have their um, Instagram handles on the back of their jerseys. Their name. Their
But
Now,
name.
well, they can get paid now. It's great.
well, you talk when you
Yeah,
talk about all
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
your
It's
tribe,
awesome.
and you're trying to work that, and
Yeah.
I think it's important that we bring this up in the aspect that as we move into football season, we're all going to end up at places where they have food and we're doing things, and if we can bring it up, I think we're good with it. But I will have to say this: it's an hour and a half into it. It's 11
Yeah,
o'clock
man.
at night. I think I'm gonna have to I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. I will I can't promise every week, but if you do this after our show on Tuesdays, I don't mind popping on with you for a little bit. I can't, like I said, I want to guarantee every week, but not that you would want me every week. I'm not being so presumptuous, but
Yeah. I think you would.
I don't
I
mind,
think so.
popping on with you after that, after our show for a little bit and saying hey and hanging out. So yeah,
All right, well, we Big Tent here. I'm still exploring this, and this is just a way for. I wanted to have a forum for those of us with smaller channels to practice, get into it, and have a place where people could feel comfortable to be who they are and get a word in edgewise. Because nothing against Carrie, but it's hard when you have 900 people jumping in there.
Oh, sure. I totally understand that. And I'll tell you what, I can also do, like I said, I mean, I'll try to find a way to shout you out. If you do this after our show every week, which it seems like you are, I'll maybe try to shout you out at the end of our show, and I know, you've told me it's kind of I can come on in that. So what I may do is I'll even maybe talk to some of the other cast members as well, and maybe have if they want to pop on and say, hey, I'm going to be on with Carnivore Scott for a little bit. If anybody wants to pop over there at the after party or whatever. So, you know, so that's something. I mean, again, if you are open to it, if you think you'd like it.
Well, I think we're all open to expanding our horizons and growing our accountability partner pool.
Yeah, man, it's a community, and anybody that listen, like I said, I just met Mike for the first time today, and but again, you seem to have. I just want anybody that's got the right attitude and the right message to be promoted. I don't care if you got 1 subscriber or 1 billion subscribers. This message is way more important than any messenger. I say all the time, if the light shining on you is greater than the light that shines from within you, the light shining on you
There's
will
Trump.
blind you. And
Yeah.
it will make you lose sight of what's important. So you just want to make sure that light
Good.
shining from within you is 1,000 times brighter than any light that shines on you. And if that's the case, you'll never be blinded.
Well, you know what? I think that is an excellent note to wrap up this evening's effort, and I appreciate you all making yourselves available and jumping in. It's a blessing to me, so I thank you very much.
Oh, happy to do it, brother. Happy to do it.
Mike, any last words?
Nice to meet you. You're a wise young man.
Oh,
Really
I'm
nice
not that young. I'm 53.
Yes, sir. I'm 60. It's kind of crazy.
But thank you.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. And
enjoyed it. So I'll be checking you guys out more too. So
and for all the folks in church in the chat, I thank you for what you're doing. I thank you for sharing your heart. We do have our prayers out for Florida, for the southeast coast as this hurricane comes through. I know with storm surge and wind damage, and then the aftermath of these things. Please don't think that you are alone in any of this. Definitely people are praying and sending positive vibes. And, I stand at the ready to assist as I can. And I'm sure that holds for everybody within the carnivore community. So please be sure to be safe in whatever you do, and let those, I know we don't like to talk about government, but let the people who are in the know and who have the tools do their job so that you can all get through this well. Okay. All right. With that, God bless. Take care. I'm out.